everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and today I'm taking a look at 6 different games here, wildly different games. Some short reviews of each of them. We'll go from the smallest and work our way up. Let's get going. Let's start with Alpha Birds. Make words, earn points. First to 20 wins. A small little game about making words with cards. That's never been done before. Each player gets their own scorecard. You'll be using a single deck of cards. On your turn, you'll draw 2 cards here from the draw pile. Look at them. You'll keep one of those cards and give the other one to another player. So maybe they draw 2 and do this. I draw 2, and I'll do that. They'll draw 2 and keep that one and give me this one. Now, I am trying to make words, so maybe I draw this one, and I'm going to give them the L, and I'll take the O. So I'm going to make a word now with my own words, which is cook, C-O-O-K. A 4-letter word gives you 4 points, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm also going to make a word with someone else's, half, H-A-L-F. Also 4 letters, but I only get 2 of those points. I give them the other 2 points, but the letters still go away. So if you look at the scorecard here, you'll see that 3 points gives you nothing, 4 gives you 4, 5, 6, 6, 10, 7, 20. Once you flip over your card and get 11 points, now other people can make 3-letter words on your board, which gives you nothing, and gives them nothing too, but they still might do it. And the first person to 20 is the winner. There's also some wonky cards. Swap, exchange any 2 cards in play. Each player must give you 1 card of their choice. There's this QXZ, which counts as 2 letters for purposes of scoring. And then there's Wild, which can be played as any letter, or Steal, take any card in play. That's how you play. This game is actually pretty interesting. I don't know that I love it. Those special cards could have been wiped from the game, and it says it's for 2 to 5 players, but it's probably best at a 2-player game. I give it a 6 out of 10. It's very interesting because you get these 2 letters, and you want to give, again, I'm speaking from 2-player perspective here. You want to give yourself one that helps you make a word, and one to your opponent, but you don't want to make your word too easy to figure out, and I will make a word with everything except 1 letter, and even if I get that letter, I need to make the word right then and there. I'll give extra letters to my opponent because even if I make a word for them, it's still only going to get me half points. And then once you get to 10 points, the fact that you then can score 3-letter words, so you're doing your best to never have a 3-letter word in front of you. So it's an interesting game. It doesn't go on forever. I thought, well, when we get the 3-letter words, nothing will ever happen. 4-letter words are still points, and it will still move the needle. There's some clever stuff there. It just kind of messed up with the special cards and stuff. And also kind of the name doesn't make any sense. I don't know anything has to do with birds, but Alpha Birds, a nice little card game. Patzcuaro is a game with an absolutely gorgeous motif here. This game here, which is set in a magical land, it says here, called Mexico. And it talks about the tradition, the festival that they have there. And yeah, so it's really pretty. Of the different games made from Detestable Games, this was one I was very, very eager to play. I like the concept of it a lot. In this game, players are trying to build a pyramid in front of them. And at the end of the game, you're going to pick some items on the bottom row. You can pick up to 3 items. And each of those you'll score 1 point for. So I might pick flowers, 1, 2, 3, 4, lollipops, 1, 2, 3, and cakes, 1, 2, 3. In the second level, you'll pick 2 item types. So bottles, 1, 2, 3, I get 2 times that. And then maybe candles, 2 times 4, 2 is 4. And then in the top one, you'll pick 1 and score 3 points for each. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 times 3, 15 skulls. There's also going to be some cards that are next to the board that if I get these specific types of cards and colors in these rows, I'll score points. Here I'm losing points for bird cards, and here groups of these will score me points. The way players get these cards is over the course of the game, you're going to be moving your piece 1, 2, or 3 spaces clockwise around a board that is going to be sort of made here, kind of randomly. And then whenever you land, you will do these things. It says trade a card with 2 or 3 items from your hand. So you'll have a hand of cards. And if you have a card with 2 or 3 items, you can put it there and take all the cards in that spot into your hand. Some let you put cards on your pyramid. Some let you draw cards from the draw pile. But essentially, these different actions out here are going to just be drawing cards, trading cards, revealing cards, adding more cards to a spot, and sometimes there's even going to be an action for other players on these spots, but it's mostly going to be something that you do as you go around the board. Unfortunately, the game is gorgeous, the production quality is high, but what this game is a rondel game, and I know that because the rules even say it's a rondel game. I don't know that I would use that language in case someone's never played before. But you're going around and taking the actions. So there's some interesting concepts there, but the problem is that they don't particularly... There's a lot of kind of boring actions. I need to collect a card, but I need to put them into my pyramid. And there's not enough actions that let you do that. And since you can't go to a spot where somebody else is, if someone's on that spot, you skip over them and they're going to eventually have to move, and then you can slide in there and then you can get the cards. And I found that the game wasn't fun. The scoring is fine. The idea of scoring 3 on the bottom, 2 in the middle, 1 on the top, building the pyramid, the idea of taking an action, but it's like, hey, put down a card, then you get all the cards there. Well, there's very few cards that ever had more than one. So you were just trading a card for a card most of the time. And that's just not, again, particularly exciting. So I really feel bad because I wanted to like the game more, but it's a 5 out of 10 for me. Neodreams is a game in which you are a business in the future. Technology lets you create dreams for people. I'm okay with that. Get these Onironauts into my brain and give me the dreams I want. Well, that's what you're doing in this worker placement game. Let's take a look. Each player has their own board here, their mainframe, and you have a couple dreams already set up in your mainframe. Dreams are different colors. There's 3 different colors. There's the lucid, the Neodreams, and a recursive dream. So you have 1 lucid and 1 Neodream already made. You also have these 3 different resources that you're collecting, daydreaming, light, and slow. And you want to collect these resources and spend them to put more cards out. You're going to do that on this board. On your turn, you can place one of your Onironauts on the board and you get whatever it says. So for example, this one here gives me 2 of the pink resource and lets me draw a card of any color. This one gives me 2 of the yellow resource and lets me put out a client. I'm getting resources so I can build the 3 different types of cards. The client cards, you can see up here on the top, there's a cost of resources. There's also victory points at the top. The client cards, when you get a client on them, they will activate. I should also mention that you have objects, and there's a lot of actions that let you put out objects on the board. All objects are the same. And each card has a certain number of objects that can be put on it. And when it's full of objects, the ability is better. So if I put this client here, this will give me 3 pink resource. But if I have an object there, it will give me 3 pink resource, and I get to draw a pink card. The pink cards, these can be activated every time you see this action anywhere. And again, they're going to get better the more objects that are on them. And then finally, the recursive dreams. These have special abilities that will last you throughout the game. Like this one says, you gain 2 after deploying one of your guys to a column with a cycle marker. But it gets better, again, as I fill it with objects. So you want to play as many of these cards as you can. Now, instead of placing out guys on the board, on the thing here, you might decide to advance the sleep cycle. When you do that, you move this to the next one. When it goes here, it moves here. This will give the person moving it an action, but also, whenever it moves, anybody who's underneath it is going to get removed, clearing up those spots, and each of those are going to be able to take an action on the side of the board here, where they're going to be able to draw a card or play a card in front of them. As soon as someone has 12 cards total in their dreamscape, then that's going to trigger the end of the game, and then you're just going to be counting the points at the top of the cards and any other ways that you might get points, and whoever has the most is the winner. This game is a ton of fun. I was very impressed with it. The worker placement I find to be very interesting as you're placing the workers up, blocking each other, and eventually you'll say, I'll take the action at the top. It's an action. You get that action, but you're also returning stuff back, and you kind of want to have 2 of yours in the same row if you could, because then when they get returned, you can play 2 cards in front of you. And which cards to play? The ones with that have the clients in them, those dreams are good. They give you the biggest things, but also the green ones give special abilities, but those middle dreams, the pink ones, you can just, you can run that row more often. They're not as good as the other cards, but you might activate them more. Then there's the coolness of the dream. Now, don't get me wrong. The dream theme here is very loose. I never felt like I was a dream champion. But the scoring and the board, it's a tight little game. It plays easily. It gives you a little bit of an engine building, and it doesn't outstay its welcome. So for me, Neodreams is an 8 out of 10. Iconoclash. This is Super Mario Brothers Bash. That's what it is, the board game. The end. Not really. There's more to it than that, but that is 100% what this game is. When you play this game, you're going to play one of the two sides here. So you see there's mostly both castles here. You have a box that has all the cards you need for, this is the Dawn Castle, all the cards you'll need for this. And then each person is going to pick one of the characters. And I'm talking about this set, but you can mix and match with other sets. After that, you're going to fight. You'll have some spawning spots that you can start on the board. Each player will have a deck of cards. And on your turn, you're going to be playing action for your turn. You're also going to be getting feat tokens and spending these tokens to move on the board. You can jump down from top locations. Sometimes you have abilities that let you jump across. And you're trying to fight one another. So when we look at these different cards, this one, for example, I can attack 1, move up to 3 spaces in a line before attacking. Here, 2 movement, this gives me 2 more, and I can also move before attacking. There are also cards that block, and players are going to have a little thing that's going to keep track of their hit points. Each castle comes with rules for, here's the respawn. It talks about the different platforms that you can go through or can't go through, the story of it if you care. And each round of the game, various things are going to happen. Sometimes an item token will go here, and it will fall down. The game has rules on gravity, so you can see different tokens are going to fall. Everything drops during these gravities. Sometimes you need to roll a dice to see where something happens. And then it also comes with a whole set of item cards that you can get that are going to let you block or do you more damage, attacking your opponent. And that's it. The first person to completely wipe out the opponent is the winner. Now, this is the copy I picked up with the anime stuff on it. There's other versions out there. I'm not a big fan of anime, and it is a little weird to have a cute animal, kind of a weird elemental here, and then 2 very odd anime women in there. I don't know. Like I said, this is Smash Brothers, right? You're just running around hitting each other. There's strategy, but not really. Things fall from the sky. You get a chest, you get this. I hit you, we jump around. Don't get me wrong, there can be a lot of fun moments in the game, and the production's pretty good. You jump from here to here and knock things down and hit people, and it definitely has that chaotic feeling Smash Brothers has without the whole, if I just press this button fast enough, I'm going to win. Because my days of winning at these kind of games is long over, and now I'm just a spectator when my kids play, even if I'm in the game. So I played this with my kids because I specifically was curious, and they thought it was fine. And they said, why would you play this over the video game? And nobody had a really good answer to that. So it's not a terrible game. It works. I give it a 6 out of 10. The concepts work, but it is a little slower. The text on the cards is incredibly tiny than it needs to be. And you're going to have to kind of figure out the flow of the game. But if you can, and if that's what you're looking for, a 2-player, with platforming, combat back and forth as a board game, then this is one that you might enjoy, Iconoclash. Spirit Duels, a card and dice game. So Spirit Duels is, well, it's clearly you have these little cute creatures that level up, and then you fight them against other creatures. Everyone wants to be Pokemon, and this one is very much walking down that trail. They're like, well, it's legally distinct Pokemon. Okay, but what this game does, let's talk about the board game. It's not just cards, it's dice, and there's a lot of dice in this game. Let me show you a little bit. Each player is going to pick some of these characters. You're gonna pick from different types. You can see here we have some lightning and some earth and some arcane types, and you have level 1. But over the course of the game, you're going to level things up. I mean, for example, this Waddle looks kind of pathetic, but look, now he's a Zanguin, and then he's a Prepatar. And this Scorbit turns into a Scorbite, which turns into a Scorebolt, and so on and so forth. Oh my word. These guys turn into some mega stuff. Now, each of these different creatures comes with various dice, and the game comes with a ton of dice. And what you're going to be doing on your turn, you'll have a deck of cards made up of the different types that you've made, and you're going to be playing these cards on your turn. You'll be taking actions back and forth. And you can play cards, like this one says, exhaust this card, and is an item, and spend a charge, then splash 1. And so splash, according to my little thing here, says turn enemy dice to any side. The other thing you can do is you can tap one of the creatures, and you'll roll dice. Well, that was a terrible roll. But each of the dice will give you various things. You can get essence, you can get a defense, you can get attack. Attack's the thing that you really want, because you can also spend dice on your turn. So again, the actions are play a card, or tap one of your people and get dice, or use all the dice of the same type to attack somebody, and they can try to defend against it. And if you do enough damage to them, you'll knock them out. And you want to knock out your team to the opponent's team to win the game. You can also win if someone has no cards in their hand or deck. So here's some more of the cards that are in the game, and there is tons of different cards here with artwork. Each of the classes also has a special role that they have, which, you know, if you're using Clash, you get something, so you have a card for that. Oh, look, here's a shark. Oh, that's when he's pathetic small. Anyway, you're going to either knock out your opponent's characters or make them run out of cards. So I love dice. I have hundreds of dice. I love dice in games. But in this game, the dice are too random and not particularly fun. And that's because you roll your dice and you go, all right, I got a good roll or I got a bad roll. I don't want the bad roll. Oh, well, I just have to deal with whatever the dice rolled. Ooh, I rolled a good roll. Then you say, and I'm changing your dice to other sides. And that happens consistently. And if you start losing in this game, it's hard to come back. It's fun to level up and get better dice, but at the end of the day, you just still kind of roll those dice. Like you have this big creature, rah, I roll 4 dice, and your little creature's like, I roll only 2. Your big creature doesn't feel as big when that's the case. So the artwork is fine. Yes, it's obviously looking towards Pokemon Digimon, but the artwork is really good. The quality is good. It's not a hard game to understand. There's just nothing that really stands out, and the dice rolling is too random for me to like it more than that. I just didn't find the game itself to be fun. It just kind of slogged down as we played cards and mess each other's rolls up. So 5 out of 10 for me. Tivoli is an amusement park here. This is a game from Denmark where you're going to the amusement park and you want to have as much fun as you can rolling some dice. Here's the amusement park you're going in. Everyone is going to start here at the very bottom, and you're going to want to move your piece around this board. You do that by rolling 3 dice. You can re-roll any number of dice that you want. It is completely up to you. You can stop after 2 re-rolls. Once you do that, you'll use them. Coins are used to buy cards. So on the side here are different cards. They have a different coin cost. Most of them cost 1. This one here is cotton candy. It will give me 3 points at the end of the game. Some of them give you actions that you can take. And then there's food, which gives you 1 point, but also gives you points if you have more than 1 different type of food. And throughout the deck, there are lots and lots of different cards. Movement, that's what I rolled here. These arrows allow me to move along these paths, but I need a certain number of arrows to move on a path. This one's 3, 1, and 2. So if I move along this path, I'm going to score 5 points. When I do that, I also put one of my lanterns here to show. When this whole thing is filled with lanterns equal to the number of players, then you'll click the time here at the top. The same thing can be done for rides. When you roll tickets, and you're in a location, each ride will cost a certain number of tickets. You can ride that ride. And again, when it's filled with the number of players, that ride is closed. And when a ride is closed, again, that will tick the time at the top. Also, at the end of your turn, if you have any time showing on your final roll, that will tick it. At the end of the game, you're going to have your points for your cards, for the rides, for the paths that you went. And you'll notice down here at the very bottom that whoever's been on the most of different types of ride and has the most of different foods will score points here. And that is how you play. Tivoli is a kid's game in a sense. And not really, but it feels that way. You roll the 3 dice, you can keep the rolls. You're like, oh, I rolled 2 tickets. I'll try to get a 3rd ticket so I can go on this big ride. Oh, I rolled 2 walking. I'll try to get a 3rd one. So it's walking and getting tickets, and especially tickets, because even though walking gets you points and tickets gets you points, having tickets in the most areas at the end of the game can get you more points. The weakest part of this game is, well, it's pretty lucky. You know, even if you roll and you re-roll, you're rolling 3 dice. You're still kind of stuck with those rolls. It's also that the cards on the side that you buy, why would you buy a card that's a ticket? I mean, yes, you're spending a coin now to get a ticket later, or why would you buy a coin to get a card that gives you an extra footprint? I mean, they're okay, but if there's a card that gives me points, that's just straight points. And there was a lot of cards that kind of just sat there on the side because no one really wanted to buy them. You would have to say, well, I have a coin and nothing else to do with it. But that's a small issue, I think. Overall, the game, if you look at it from a kid's perspective, works pretty well. You roll some dice, you move around, you see the amusement park. It's not as amusement park looking as you might think. The way the colors are, they show you like the front of rides, but they don't show you the rides themselves as much. I think it could have looked more exciting. But I'd give this one a 6 out of 10. It's easy to teach, easy to play, has that amusement park theme, and some folks are going to like it. Well, there you go, folks. Some not so great, some middle of the road, one I enjoy quite a bit, some Speedy reviews for you all. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Tom Vasel, and this has been The Dice Tower. Hey everybody, thanks for watching another video from the Dice Tower. Hey, you want to learn more about us, communicate with us? We have a Facebook group, we have a Discord channel, lots of different ways to get involved with the Dice Tower. You can find that in our Linktree link below. So just click that, it will take you and you can communicate with us on Facebook, join our Facebook groups. There's lots of cool things that you can find and become part of the Dice Tower. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Tom Vasel.